Hey everyone, my name is Lucas Mello. I'm a solution engineer here at Confluent. I'm joined by Nick from Databricks, and we're going to take you all through a very cool use case using some AI tools here. So let me just take you guys through what we're going to look into today, and then Nick will go into more details on everything that we're doing with Databricks and so on. So the use case is pretty much a social media review application. Right. If you look here, we have a very simplified view of what we're going to be going through. But if you go step by step, the first thing that happens is a user is going to post a review on social media. The review is then captured and stored within a topic called raw data within Confluent Cloud. That topic pretty much consists of the review itself, the data of the review, and the franchise ID that review is associated to. The review is then going to run through a processing application using Flink, and is also going to run through the Databricks AI model. And what we're doing here, we're pretty much just enriching the data with a sentiment, right? So we're getting the sentiment for the review through the Databricks AI model, as well as we are adding more information about the franchise itself, right? And that's done through Flink. That data is then stored, that message is then stored within a topic called rich data, right? Again, within Confluent Cloud. And then we're going to run that message through another AI model. So we bring the enriched data out of the rich data topic, run through the AI model to generate a message output, right? And that message output, we do two things with it. It's stored within a Confluent Cloud topic as well, called chat output, as well as it is sent to the end user so they can get the review with a cool image associated with it, right? So pretty much everything is running on EKS, on Kubernetes within AWS. We'll show you a little bit of that as well. Of course, we're using Confluent Cloud as the messaging system, and then we're also using AI models and PostgreSQL from Databricks. So let's jump into the demo. I'll show you how everything is working, and then I'll pass it on to Nick to go into more details on the Databricks side. So here you can see our social media app. We're going to do a quick review. In this case, the review is very positive. So the cookies were excellent. We'll definitely come back, and you can see the response here, right? So let's see what happens behind the scenes. So you can see the message coming in here on the raw data topic. The message is right there, review date, and the franchise ID, right? We then have another topic. So we run that message through the Databricks AI model to get the sentiment. We also run it through a couple of processing tools just to get more information on the franchise. So you can see the franchise ID with all the information there. And lastly, we run that message again through Databricks AI model to get the response, right? So this is the output response on another topic as well, saying, hey, friend, we like what we read. Well, here's your cookie badge with the link to the image as well, which is what you see on the screen right there, right? We can also do the same thing with a negative review. So you can see this one just says that cookies tasted awful, tasted funny, right? So you can see the response we get there. Same thing, you can see the message coming in on the raw data topic. From there, the message gets enriched. So we have the same message with the sentiment, which is negative this time, plus the franchise information here in the rich data topic. And then lastly, we're able to see the output message here on the chat output topic. So just the same message that you saw on the application and so on with the link to the image that was also generated by the AI tool. We can go into AWS and see where all of this is running. You can go into the EKS instances, as you can see right here. This is our GenAI Databricks demo with all the instances down there. You can see everything that's running over there. You can also go in and look at it in a little bit more detail. You can see all of that information there. We can also go into Databricks, their workspace, and start playing around a little bit with the AI prompt. So provide sentiment in one word, negative, positive, or neutral, which is what we're doing for those reviews, right? As you saw, the first one is positive, and the last one is negative, and this is pretty much us just playing around with that input. And same thing, we can go through the database and query those databases. This is how we're getting the information from the franchise. So you can go into franchises here. You can see the message comes in with just the franchise ID, and then we add the additional franchise information, and this is where we're getting that franchise information. So you can see the last franchise that we used over there in the message was from Tokyo, and you can see the franchise ID, the city, district, zip code, and all of that information that we're pulling in. So that's pretty much it from my end. Nick, I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Lucas. So we've seen what happens when a review comes in through the stream processing application that we've built. Now let's kind of go see how the agent system that we built on the Databricks end handles that request, gets the data that it needs in order to do some action. In this case, it has to figure out a couple of things. Was this a positive or a negative review? What kind of product was being mentioned in this review? What are people saying about this product? And then it takes all of these and actually will generate a prompt to send over to the image generation model. And then depending on if it was a positive or a negative review, it will do one of two things. It will either create a coupon saying, look, we're sorry you had a negative experience. Please give us another shot. Or it'll say, we're glad that you really enjoyed this cookie. Here's a very nice picture of said cookie if you want to post it to social media and kind of give us a review. So now let's actually see how we build an agent system on Databricks. So first, we're going to jump into Unity Catalog. And this is where our data lives. So you'll see I can go to the franchises table and I can actually go explore specific data that might be, our store sales data or what products are being sold. And in this case, we can actually also go look up customer reviews. And we can see, look for a given store or product, what are people saying about it? Now you'll notice this is all stored in a catalog. Now what Unity Catalog lets us do is it lets us define functions that we can use as tools within our agent system that can query data at runtime. So when I need this agent to go and look up sales or generate images for me, our agent can be equipped with these tools and it has agency to execute them and to make them actually do specific things. So in this case, you're seeing an example of these functions. Now, let's put this agent together. Now, an agent really consists of about 3 parts. And now we're just going to kind of run through some boilerplate code. And just a heads up, we are using MLflow for a lot of our tracking and kind of tracing to figure out what it is that our agent is actually doing. Now we're just going to run some functions that take those tools you saw in Unity Catalog and actually bind them to our agent. So you'll see we're using LangChain to do this. And now what you're seeing here is that we can actually reference all of the functions in a given catalog. So we are telling it anything that's in this bakehouse.ai catalog and schema, you now have access to. That's what that star notation says. Now we need another piece of an agent, and that is our language model. We actually will stand up foundation models for you through our foundation model API. In this case, we're going to use Meta Llama 3.1 70B. It performs very well, and it's open source, something that we here at Databricks love. Now, the last piece to putting together our agent is to define a system prompt. So what this does is it gives guidance to our agent. It lets it know what is expected of it, and also it gives extra kind of clarification as to what tools it may use to accomplish certain things. Now we can combine these 3 things, the system prompt, the tools, and our language model in order to define our agent. Now we can actually just test this agent with a pretty simple query, right? In this case, the payload that Lucas showed us earlier gives us a review and some other information about the store that's been processed in the stream beforehand. With all of this information, now we're going to actually run the agent. So if we hit run, it is going to pass this payload off to our agent, which has been equipped with these tools and prompt to tell it what to do. And you'll see that it will start calling these tools. So first, it's actually going to pull sales for Sapporo, which is the city in the payload. It's going to use those sales to figure out what the most sold cookie is at that store. And it's going to pull reviews to see what people are saying about it. It's going to combine all those things, create an image generation prompt. And what you'll see here in a second is that the agent launched a job on its own. That job is calling an image generation model. That image generation model is taking the prompt that our agent itself came up with, and it's actually going to generate this picture for us. So if we wait for this to finish, you'll see we'll be able to just tab over and display the beautiful image of our cookie. Now, you may think to yourself, okay, you did this in a notebook, but how are you going to actually deploy this agent out to the world? So what you're looking at here is we've actually taken this agent and using Mosaic AI model serving, we've actually stood it up as an outward-facing API. So what this lets you do is use this agent in your stream workflows or wherever you need to actually access it, so that way you can take this agent and actually do things with it. One other thing that I want to show is that we, behind our model serving endpoints, we also handle things like load balancing, version history, tracing, inference tables, so that when you have developed an agent that you would like to deploy out to the world, you can feel good knowing that you can actually productionize it in a very robust way.